The audio is hot. I can see myself. That's me talking, right?
Yep.
And Frank, we have no green screen. You're making us look like we're with Tom Snyder on The Tomorrow Show.
I like that. Like Charlie Rose did that too. The
My
black
first
box.
few shows, we did that.
Yeah.
So that's our background tonight. As a matter of fact, that is an actual background that was on that side of the room.
It's actually good for people as white as me, the black.
The black is?
I don't know.
Well, we could
I
take
am
you
like
out.
the whitest guy you've ever met.
You're pretty white. Yeah, you're pretty white.
That's what the people on TV like to say. They will not let me wear anything other than dark colors.
Yeah, I'm not on real TV, so I wouldn't know.
The style, like the style people, like
Yeah.
Fox and other places would only I could wear black, dark blue,
Really?
and dark gray. Yeah, they would not let me like wear a
Well,
khaki
this is not
suit
Fox.
or a seersucker or something. You know?
Frank J. Parisi is in charge of this place, and if Frank says you can wear whatever you want, Ellis, you can wear whatever you want.
You can wear whatever you want, Al.
All right.
So, Frank, are you going to be putting the other backgrounds behind us? Oh, they are there. You just have that in preview.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, but we are live.
Mhm.
We're live. We're on camera too. Hello. We're live. We're in our pre-show here of Anatomy of an Entrepreneur. I'm supposed to act all excited, but I'm very tired after a long weekend. It was a very, very long weekend. Frank J.,
Yes.
can you do me a favor? And can you put me in the, can you put my laptop into the preview window? This is very exciting, folks. We have added a new function, which actually Frank and I have been testing for months now. But what we used to do is, and you probably remember this, Frank, I would say, Frank, can you bring up that picture of that band in Disney playing? What's going on, Frank?
Everything is fine,
But
except VMix is running fine. I can't click on the mouse. I swear to God. Every time I click down, nothing happens. VMix is live, nothing's frozen.
your mouse is moving now.
It's moving, but it will not let me click anything.
Oh, no.
Because I just tried to hit record.
So what else can we do?
I'm gonna go get a wired mouse.
Okay, so but we're on now.
You're on the wide shot right now. So
Okay, so we're just going to have to keep talking. But I can't, you can't switch between, because the mouse is not working. How weird is that? We got a brand new, we had a brand new custom-made live streaming computer built for us. And so this is only the only like second week we're using it.
This vindicates my strategy of having a wired mouse on my desk.
You know what? And it's funny
I've had that
because
thing of looking
you're-
around for a AA battery at a moment of desperation.
it's not even that, but even my IT guy was here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Pete, the IT guy, in case you're watching. And he said, you got a wireless keyboard and a wireless mouse? I go, yeah. He goes, no. He goes, switch it out right away. He said, you're going to be sorry that you got a wireless keyboard and a
right.
wireless
And
mouse.
there's no advantage.
And I said, what are you talking? Because I hate wires.
Yeah, I know.
But guess what?
Well, there's no
Pete, formerly known as the IT guy, was right.
Yeah, and there's no. I mean, do you really need to carry your mouse around into the other room or something?
No.
There's no advantage.
No,
really.
I was only doing it because I just don't. We have so many wires here. I was just trying to cut down on wires. But guess what? What the lesson is I learned tonight? Well, guess what Bobby Brady learned tonight?
That's right. We'll have a wire.
Have a wired mouse and a wired keyboard that is going back to Best Buy.
Yeah.
I'm very unhappy
I think,
at this moment.
I think your guy may be right.
And you know what is what's ticking me off the most is the fact that the technology here is so like involved. Really, it's the mouse that's not working.
That's kind of basic, right?
It's kind of like embarrassing.
The click. You can't click.
It's embarrassing.
That's like having a gun that can't shoot. I mean, it's kind of important, right?
Yeah, or like in the cartoons where like Bugs Bunny puts his finger in it and Elmer Fudd pulls a trigger and his face blows up.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like egg on my face right now. Because we have all this like really involved technology, like really humming
Amazing
tonight.
wireless stuff. And
This is wireless. This is here. Well, so Frank, your mouse is now working.
Yep.
Do you want to give me the?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I mean we'll talk for a couple of minutes about it. Maybe Ellis has something he can enlighten us. So, first of all, I got this brand new iPhone. Look at the quality of that image. It's so good. But Lori Kay does not like it. She says it looks like something miniature. And in fact, that style of photography is called a miniature.
That's the 11, the iPhone 11.
That's the new 11 Pro Max.
Pro Max means the big one.
It's like everything. I got like the Caddy.
You spend as much money as you could possibly spend on a phone.
Almost. The only thing.
What could you have spent those money? And you got the case.
I did, and this case was a ripoff.
I know, it's like $40 or something.
You're right.
I have the same
And
case.
here's the thing.
But you know what? It's the best case.
Is that okay? Good.
It must cost them 3 cents to make, right? It's the equivalent of the syrup cola in the movie theater they charge you $4 for. The
Right.
markup must be extraordinary.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that's where they're making their
What did
money.
it cost them to make that in China, do you think?
3 cents.
Right.
Right? And the reason I got it was because we were traveling, Lori and I were traveling to Florida this past weekend, and I was like, well, I don't want to not have a case, and I don't have time to go get a case because we're running to go get a plane. So I
Let's
just,
get the Apple case.
that's what I did. I got the Apple case. It's really nice. It feels good.
Yeah, no, it's a good case.
And I just got a text from Bill Sobel. He says, I'm running late, Lotso traffic.
Okay.
Running late for what?
Bill Sobel's coming here tonight.
Oh, Bill's coming?
You know that he's a good friend of Ellis
Yes,
Hennigan.
He's how I know all you
I
guys.
do remember him talking
Yeah.
about, yes.
Do you know how long it took me to get Ellis to come out here?
A long time, about a year.
At least. Anyway, this Apple phone is great. We did have a fun time, though. What time is it, Lori? Oh, it's 5:27. Oh, we don't have time to play Staten Island or Mr. Blue Shirt. What we had quite a time. I'm not a Disney guy at all. But I got to go for free,
I can't respond to
and I had a good time.
People like it. I mean, even adults like it.
We went to this place called Jelly Roll,
I don't know
and
about Jelly
they
Roll.
had this place it was on Disney Springs, and they had these two guys playing dueling pianos, and you try to stump them with music. I actually did stump them. I was probably the only person that stumped them, but when one of the piano players was on break, he actually went and looked up the song on Google and learned it, and after that break, he played it.
They aim to please.
And I would be willing to bet that you know the song.
What is it?
It's called Black Slacks
No.
by Robert Gordon. It's rockabilly.
Yeah, I know Robert Gordon, but I don't know Black Slacks.
It's a great song. The guy did a great job on it.
Black.
Black Slacks make you cool daddy-o when I put them on a raring to go.
Well, there's rockabilly that has the same chord progression of all the
It's
other
a lot of
rockabilly
12-bar
songs.
blues.
Right, I mean, it's
Right?
It's either a little faster, a little slower.
Right, or they just tinker around
Right.
but it's fun. It's fun music.
We have a small problem.
What's the problem?
I'm just gonna let you know right now. All my comments in YouTube and Facebook are responding as Corey Winkoff.
Oh, so I hate to get up, but in the right, it's showing up as FLG.
I'm in Streamcast.
Right, but if you look on the right corner, there's a little round circle that looks like Corey, or it looks like FLG. You can click on that and change it. Do you know where it is? Do I need to get up?
No,
Do you want me to get up and do it?
got it.
Okay. And the same will be true for Facebook as well.
I have to log in,
So you know how to log in.
create a new account.
What? Don't create a new account.
What's your password?
Okay, so
Tell
I'm,
everyone your password.
Just say it on.
no, I'm going to text it to you, Lori. Do you have your phone handy?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Facebook. C. Sobel. Where's the at? At PhoenixGP.
You're saying it out
Com.
loud. I don't know if
That's
it's-
my username. That's my username. And the password is,
It's just asking me for a password.
oh, that's lowercase. The whole thing is, I'm sending it to you, but just know that the first letter is lowercase. The password is Ellis Hennigan. Just try that. And YouTube, the password is that's for YouTube. The second one I just sent you. Everything okay otherwise? We got to start the show.
Go, we'll figure it out.
Frank J. Parisi. We just had an issue with that. We just worked through it. That audio is still not on. Is it on?
Yeah, it's on that. Why did
I don't know.
I didn't even touch anything.
I know. So We do have audio though because we have backup.
Mm.
It's kind of like, like you have like that second jet engine in case one engine
Yes,
goes
you're
out.
always happy to have that.
So
one,
we're
right?
live right now, and believe it or not, we do have audio.
Sure. No,
So-
I have to say, it is very impressive what you got.
Thank you, I appreciate
It's-
it.
it's very
But we got into it pretty early, and we're like on the end phases of early with this stuff,
Mhm.
and it's still really cool. But anyway, I'm just so happy that you're here, and I want to have a conversation with you about your journey and how you got to where you are today. And we had this little discussion a while ago where you said, "I'm not an entrepreneur," and I believe just about everybody's an entrepreneur.
Mm. You know, it's funny. I didn't think I was an entrepreneur. In fact, the early part of my work life, I was very. Other people took care of that. I mean, I worked in corporate media companies, and it was my job to write the column
Right.
or to do the talking. And it was somebody else's job to sell it and promote it and market it. And let me tell you, it's not like that anymore.
No, everything it's
I got to do it all.
no, it's a gig economy now,
Yeah.
and it's a project based, and right, you have to pull it all together yourself.
Or nobody's going to see it.
Right.
Yeah, no, it took a little while. I had a little bit of a, I'm the talent. I'm not the guy who has to worry about that stuff.
Did you ever have that attitude?
Um, I was raised with that as the organizing assumption. I mean, I didn't personally feel that way. Like I always liked the ad sales guys, and the truck guys, and I like a lot of different kinds of people. I've always liked that.
Yeah.
But in the newspaper business, for instance, we were all but forbidden to hang around with the ad sales guys. Like they were going to pollute us somehow. You almost had to sneak if you saw one of them in a bar.
But that's not from your family. That's after you left home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, in my family, I come from
Legal.
I come from a family of lawyers.
Yeah.
I'm the first male in 3 generations in the Hennigan family not to be a lawyer.
Was that? Did your parents freak out about that?
No, they were fine.
They were
In fact,
okay with it.
Yeah. Now I cast off the shackles of the law and exhibited independence and showed I was my own man, and then I promptly married a lawyer, showing what a short distance psychologically I've come in my life.
Right. But
what does that mean? I don't know.
I don't know. It sounds like you're yearning for your
It's-
childhood.
It's not flattering.
If you want to lie down on the couch over there, we can talk about
People
that.
say that your interviews are like therapy, so
Who says that?
I've heard that.
Oh.
Yeah, even I want to know who says that.
Well, I take that as a compliment. Whoever said
Yeah.
it. Frank, are we allowed to? Are we at a point where are you trying to bring mics back in?
It will not let it did that same when I usually hit that button, it like locks the inputs, but I didn't even touch anything this time.
And this is exactly what we fixed this morning
Yeah.
with Tom.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know whether you want to text Tom or not, but I mean, at least we have something going on here.
Yeah.
But we're supposed to have about 5 microphones running right now. That's really weird. So, but anyway, Frank, can you give me a little control of the Ellis? Take a look at that picture. We dug that out of the archives. I love that picture.
Yeah, what do you like about it?
It's so classic. It's so classic. Is it like 1963?
Probably somewhere around maybe. Yeah,
Can I get that back?
that's New Orleans. The glasses with the black glasses.
You have that's your dad with the black glasses.
Well, I mean,
so you're you're like an
I'm
older
the
sibling.
oldest. I'm the oldest of now 5 kids.
Really?
And that was, I don't know, I guess it was for the newspaper. I learn stories the way I think most people do, which is around the kitchen table. What we did every night was sit around the table together and tell stories, some of which were true. I'm Ellis Hennigan. I'm a writer and a talker and a storyteller. I live in New York now, but I grew up in New Orleans in a big, loud Southern family. I'm the first male in 3 generations not to be a lawyer. So I grew up telling stories. I learned how to appreciate a good one. I learned how to craft them so they made people laugh and made people cry and made people believe me. And that's what we did in the Hennigan family.
Frank, let's come back to the
Remember being on the lake in the canoe race, and I was like 3 or 4 boat lengths ahead of the next person. And I heard out of the corner of my ear the announcement of the winners of the sailing race. And the thought occurred to me, holy crap, I'm going to win this race. They're going to announce my name on the PA system, and I'm going to be shown to be the deceitful person that I am. And I threw the race. I stopped paddling and I let the other people pass me. And I learned a lesson that if you tell one lie,
Yeah.
You have to tell like 100 lies to make up for it.
So,
Is that a revealing story?
well, in a way, it is because we were talking before.
It's also true, by the way. I didn't make it up. It's all
No,
true.
and I believe that. But also, you said you don't like to be the guy who's out front, who's hunting.
You know, it's interesting. I think I've changed on that. I think when I was younger, earlier in my career, and when I was growing up, I thought it was kind of tacky and pushy, and cool and smart people and nice people were not self-promoting and pushing themselves. Like my father never had a business card. He thought that was inappropriate self-promotion. That doesn't fly anymore.
My father
right?
was the same way.
Yeah,
He
he
was an
didn't really.
accountant.
He was like your reputation. You
Yeah.
know, people will
Yeah.
find. And in fact, his whole life, he had great clients. He had a wonderful career as an attorney. He was a esteemed, successful guy without doing any of that. But you know, it's the 21st century, and that is really not good advice today,
No.
particularly in the media business in New York. And so I've learned to do that. I'm much more comfortable. I mean, I love nothing more than standing in front of a room and talking to people. There's nothing more fun than
Right. So
that.
you.
I love that.
But was that out of necessity?
Some parts of it were out of necessity. The business promotion part, the need to call up somebody and ask for work. I still don't like doing that.
Yeah.
And I have agents who I can get to do a lot of it, but sometimes I still have to do some parts.
Right.
The part, the ham part, the part of like enjoying performing. I mean, really, what happened? I was writing newspaper columns, and those were the early days of news TV, cable TV. And so I'd write a column about something, and I would get a call from a producer at CNN or Fox or New York One or somewhere asking me to come on and talk about that. And Cliff, it reflected poorly on me how much I enjoyed it. I was like, this is really fun. It's a lot easier than writing.
Right.
And I was comfortable because of the kitchen table. I mean, I'm used to talking. And I was comfortable. I wasn't nervous. I liked mixing it up. I would be arguing with this whole tribe of skinny blonde women in miniskirts who were my fellow pundits on those shows. And I liked it. And they thought I was good at it, and so they would call me and started making some money at it.
But I know I'm actually skipping ahead where I want to be, but we're here already, and that is, but how did you get those opportunities in the first place?
Because those people needed. I don't want to say they were desperate, but they had 24 hours a day to fill. They had to put something on.
But still, there's 1 million people who want to be on. How did you gain the opportunity to be on? I mean, I know what Anderson Cooper did with his little camera in the Middle East. You know about that, right?
I mean, I was writing newspaper columns in New York, and people saw them.
So you were already.
I was already working in the media. I wasn't a random guy on a bar stool.
Right.
I was writing in a paper called Newsday.
Yep.
And I wrote 3 columns a week for 20 years in Newsday, and people would see those columns and they would assume, sometimes correctly and sometimes not, that I actually knew something about the topic that I was writing about. But you know what? At the very least, that I could talk about it for a 7-minute TV segment.
Right, and they needed that.
And you did it once, and interesting. What happened to me was that I went to work at Fox, on the Fox News Channel, early in the game, at the early days of the Fox News Channel. And I was politically different. I'm trying to think of the right way to say this, but politically different from most of the people on the Fox News Channel. I was like the visiting team.
Right.
So, it was a much more conservative network than
You were the
my
Yankees
own.
playing in Boston.
Yeah.
At Fenway.
Yeah, something like that.
We still are.
What the bosses there always told me was that I was someone that their audience could hear saying things they didn't agree with, but they didn't hate me. They would be like, I don't agree with the guy, but he seems like an okay guy.
But why not? Especially in this day and age.
Because I think it comes from the background we're talking about. It comes from being like a white guy from the South telling stories, and I know how to say stuff so you don't hate me.
But it's in this day and age, it's different. If I'm a guy who believes in yellow,
right,
and you're a guy who believes in red in this day and age, You say yellow, they don't like you.
Yeah, that's it's it's a performance challenge. I don't think it's. I don't agree with you. I don't think it's impossible. I think it depends how you do it. I'll tell you. I'll give you one example. If you can make people laugh, they're not going to hate you. You can't hate somebody who's making you laugh. You might say, I don't agree with that guy's views on immigration,
Right.
but but they would like when I get is interesting with Fox, and I spent 13 years on Fox. When I would run into viewers, they would always say the same thing. They would say, I don't agree with anything you say, but you seem like an okay guy.
Right, so they accepted you.
Even though, and it made them feel good, actually. It's like white people talk about I have a black friend. It's kind of the same thing, I think.
Right.
It was like, well, I'm a good conservative guy, but I have
Right.
a couple of liberal friends.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? I
Yeah.
think I sort of played that role.
Well, Rick Unger,
Yeah, I know
Who's-
Rick is a buddy of mine.
I know. He told me. I know that.
And he's actually he's had similar experiences, I think.
Yes, and he's good friends with Sean Hannity,
Right.
which kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
But I have to wonder, like, when did the passion start for, like, the writing, the journalism, and after the storytelling? When did you figure out this is something you wanted to do?
It's interesting. I talk to young people a lot about this stuff, and many of them seem to have very good, strong, focused career paths. I did not have one of those. I mean, I was a political science major in college. I, got out of school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had worked on the school paper. I thought about going to graduate school and studying politics. And I got a job on a little alternative weekly paper in my hometown in New Orleans. And then I said, I sort of like this. And I came back to New York. I went to graduate journalism school
At Columbia.
at Columbia. And I thought New York was great, and I loved being out in the street and covering stuff. And it seemed like for me it was a license to dive into worlds that I was fascinated by. I didn't want to be a mafia hitman, but I like talking to a mafia hitman.
And you've spoken to many.
And I have, and a homeless people, or a CEO, and it really was, and it still is those businesses. You really, if you're someone who's curious, and you like learning about stuff, I mean, what a great license! It's a wonderful thing to do.
Would you say that the passion kept growing and still evolves and grows more now?
Yeah, here's what's happened: is the businesses have changed a lot. I mean, initially, I thought of myself as a newspaper writer, a reporter, and then a columnist. And that business is, I mean, I don't want to say it's collapsing, but it's a shadow of what it was.
And it's in chaos.
And it's not coming back.
Right.
I mean, nobody under 50 reads a print newspaper, and we can't really make money online as well. And these great newspapers, and Newsday was one of them.
Yeah.
There's still great people there doing wonderful work, but it ain't the same. I thankfully was one of those people who liked doing other stuff, so I added the TV punditry, and then I did a talk radio show.
Did you have a vision, or do you feel like it just found you?
I just liked it. I just thought it was fun.
So you were open to it.
I said yes, is really, and I didn't know if I would be good at every one of those things, but it turned out I was very broad and very shallow, and I could pick up stuff quick, and I was interested in a lot of stuff, and I didn't like what I did some of as a reporter, which was go work on an investigative piece for 9 months, and I mean, God bless people who do that. It's God's work. But
Are you calling yourself shallow?
I'm a little shallow.
Why do you call yourself shallow? I mean, some of the stuff you've done is in-depth reporting. You've written books.
Yeah, but I like to go from one to the next, and I like the next one to be different from the last one.
You have done so much. I just have difficulty seeing you as someone who's shallow.
Well,
Is that because you're humble, or are you not humble?
Well, I'm both. I mean, I'm a writer. I'm tormented, so it's partly self-deprecation.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's, but I do. Let me. If you want me to be psychologically more precise, I do think I have a short attention span. I do, and I do have very broad interests. I mean, I really am interested in what's going on, in the Middle East, and I'm interested in the dating life of some trashy YouTube starlet. I mean,
Right.
I'm interested in both of them, and I think they both matter. I think they're both interesting.
Right.
And thankfully, I've had a work life that has accommodated that. Where that's actually a strength. I mean, in some careers, that would be a that'd be a real problem.
Yeah.
But and even in the books, and in recent years, the newspaper thing has kind of gone down.
Mhm.
The TV thing has stayed steady, and I've added books, which is funny, Cliff, because you think of books as like the most old-fashioned Gutenberg, the most
Yeah, the prince that he was the inventor of the printer.
right. But the book business is really doing great. I've written, I think, 14 books in the
And
last years.
I was going to wait till later on that, but some of the books you've written, it's not even like you picked these esoteric topics of people who are in academia or something. You've written some pretty in-depth but mainstream books.
I
You
don't-
worked on a book with Dwight Gooden.
I did. I don't want to write worst-selling books. I mean, books are hard. If I'm going to write it, I want a lot of people to read it.
How many? What's the average number of pages in a book that you write?
300.
How I would be like, I'll take that little advance from you, and then all of a sudden I wait till the last week to write it. How do you manage your time to do that kind of
I
stuff?
suffer from that a little bit. I mean, you can't write a book in a week.
Right.
And I'm pretty fast, but
Yeah.
I can't write a book in a week. I've written them. I would say I've written them in like 5 weeks. That was crazy, but I've done it. It's interesting. The books are kind of fundamentally different from from the columns and the TV punditry and the talk radio. All of that stuff is about my opinion, my ego, my personality. The book projects that I've done have almost all, not all, but almost all, have been me paired up with someone
Yes.
who has an amazing story to tell.
Right.
And a commercial story, a story that
Right.
a publisher is interested in putting out and paying money for and going to print a lot of copies, and we hope we're going to sell well.
Top 3.
I don't know. It's like you have to pick your children.
Okay. The Navy SEAL, the book about the Navy SEAL.
Yeah. I did a book called Damn Few, which was with the head of training with the Navy SEALs,
And-
Rourke Denver.
And you worked with the gentleman who killed Bin Laden? Was he part of that book?
He was involved in some of that stuff. Yeah.
What was that like to work with somebody like that?
He was really interesting. I mean, he had very different from me. I mean, he had a very different life journey. He's an American hero. I mean, he has no irony about it. He's like, that's his job. That's what he does. He's a smart guy. I mean, Rourke he's a graduate of Syracuse. He was the captain of the lacrosse team. He's one of those guys. He's a winner. Everything he ever did turned out well. He's just one of those guys. And my job in that project is to help the reader get inside the head of this guy and see what the world is like
Yeah.
for Rourke Denver. I mean, what a great name, right, Rourke? It's like even the name.
Yeah, it fits.
I was like, Rourke, I love your name. Could we change it to Rourke Danger? So I think that
Yeah,
might be
right.
better. That might be better.
Yeah. I haven't had the good fortune that you've had, but I've gotten to work on some really cool
Right. You worked with all
projects.
kind of amazing people.
And I have. I've been able. I've shot documentaries for clients where I've been on the field during a football game where the Jets were playing the
Right.
Patriots. And,
Cool, right?
Yeah, and
Fun.
creating documents on with Sports Illustrated photographers, but not like you. I mean, don't you pinch yourself sometimes, going, "How did I get this?"
Listen,
I would.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I mean, some of it has definitely been luck and is undeserved, and some of it is that I work hard.
I don't believe it's undeserved.
I mean, I work hard, and I'm good. I mean, I don't. You can't listen. You can't do this kind of work without a certain amount of self-confidence.
So,
or
but how do you
cockiness.
get paired up with somebody like that? Is it like, did you approach them? Is it somebody you knew? Was it just like, you met them in a restaurant? And it's happened over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, I've gotten known as someone who can do that. And so, I mean, I have agents and publishers trust me to deliver. And then one project sort of, develops into another. I've worked with an editor or an agent or someone, or one of the co-authors refers me to someone else. And, I just did, I just finished. It's not out yet, but the kids who got stuck in the cave in Thailand. You know that story last
Yes,
summer? There's a
yes,
soccer
yeah,
team,
yeah, yeah.
and
They were there for a
and I
while.
worked over there for a couple of weeks, in deep inside this cave, and there were these divers who figure out how to get them out. And so I worked with the kids and the divers, and we have a book coming out about that. And I went to Thailand and to Australia, where their heroes live. Um, and it's a gripping, wonderful human story with tons of stuff nobody knows. And I think it's going to be a big book.
But that to me is so freaking cool
It's fun.
that you get to. It's not work. Is it work?
Well, the going and hanging out with the kids in Thailand was fun. Sitting at the computer in my loft on Hudson Street and writing the damn words is work. Yes,
That's the work part.
it's hard. I mean, it takes writing is it doesn't get easier. It takes a lot of concentration.
Yeah, it probably takes a lot of energy.
I mean, I hate it. Why do I ask myself, why am I doing this? I could sit around and talk to Cliff. This is easy. This is fun.
Because you hate it less than anything else you'd have to do to make a living.
And I love having done it.
Yeah.
When I read it later,
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I captured it.
Yeah. Lori, do you have any questions? No? Okay. But so let's talk about persistence.
Okay.
Because in order to get where you got to, it couldn't have come easy. And you must have got told no a lot. Don't tell me you didn't get told no a lot. You had to have gotten told no a lot. How did you keep yourself going as you're getting told no?
I remember like early in the game when I was first looking for work, that was really hard because more people wanted to do that work than good people than there was work, and I remember feeling like, oh my God, maybe this isn't going to work out. And, I'm gonna have to go to law school like all my relatives.
Be horrible.
Probably maybe been better. I don't know. But that was hard. I mean once I got up and running, I don't know. It's been hard. I had to deal. The hardest thing probably for me. I mean, the newspapers. I had like 20-something years in the newspaper business. It was just great. I mean, I worked for great papers and smart editors, and they had lots of money and expense accounts, and I could fly all over the place. I mean, what's
But
not
people,
to like?
when you wanted to start writing a book while you're writing a column, you weren't told yes right away, were you?
What the hard thing for me was that in my work, the newspaper was my day job, and the other stuff kind of swirled around it. That was where was the office I went to, and that's where I got my health insurance, and that was the base. As the newspaper thing began to decline, I needed to replace that with something.
Did you see the writing on the wall early on?
Yeah, and I probably stayed too long, honestly. I mean, I didn't want to give it up. I liked it.
Yeah.
And I got regard from it, and had a good job, and but it became clear at some point that this, I don't want to be like one of those people hanging on to it while it was.
Yeah.
And so many careers today.
Oh,
I mean, whatever business you're in, chances are it's been through great upheaval.
I can't tell you how many of my friends their careers have been disrupted.
Right. We're all reinventing ourselves.
And we all have to reinvent. My business got disrupted because I was in the world of digital imaging,
right.
And we were always ahead of our time in what we were doing, but my clients were in traditional digital imaging world, and they got disrupted.
Right.
And because they got disrupted,
right. So
we got disrupted.
You too. You got to figure out what you can do next.
And you got to figure out what's the next trick.
Yeah.
But a lot of people give up.
Yeah, I have. I mean, it is. I have sad stories like that of talented colleagues.
And they give up.
For whom the music stopped and there was nowhere to sit.
But there could be somewhere to sit. You have to just go find it.
I mean, I found it in the book business and in the, talking to audiences.
But even the book business is in chaos and disruption.
But we've been skating.
Right.
And I have like 5 jobs. I'm doing.
Are you still on TV a lot?
Pretty much.
Do you like that?
I love that. Yeah, that's fun.
Because that's easy to you.
It is easy, yeah. I'm comfortable doing it. I mean, people work really hard in TV.
Yeah.
But not my role is just to go and be charming, to be opinionated. That's not that hard.
Because you're a storyteller.
But it's fun. I mean, it connects with people. It's not like I don't confuse it with journalism. It's not doesn't have great depth, but it connects with people in an amazing way. I mean, if you are in people's living rooms on television, people feel like they know you, and that's very powerful.
Well,
And I love that.
and I'm going to relate that to this. And in corporate America, we're starting to get a name for ourselves, and we're starting to build clientele up, because what people are realizing is that what we do is shortening a sales cycle. Because
that.
you're developing a relationship with folks who are watching, and especially when they engage.
Right.
And now, even if they don't engage, they've been watching you every week.
But they can tell stuff about you by watching you for 10 minutes, a half an hour, talking in this setting that can't be matched by a brochure or a direct mail piece
Or a slick video.
Right. But there's something that's
This
and they're right. I mean, they can make judgments about you that are they can tell stuff.
The other thing is when you go to speak to them,
Mhm.
they feel like they've built a relationship with you.
That's
already.
it's powerful. It
And
is.
now, because they feel like they've built a relationship with you, they kind of trust you a little more.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things so powerful about this medium is being able to develop trust, which brings me to a point of, and I'd like to see if we can draw any comparisons or not. In this day and age, so many folks say, "Oh, the media, it's so distorted. Everybody has a point of view. There's no truth in media anymore." Agree or disagree?
No, let me defend my profession a little bit.
Okay, and then I want to tie it to this.
Yeah. It is true that there's far more choice today, and you can, for the first time in human history, consume media 24 hours a day and never hear anything you disagree with, and that's terrible. I mean, it makes us stupider if we just listen to stuff we agree with all day. I mean, I always tell them, particularly when I talk to kids, like spend 5 minutes a day listening to something that you don't agree with. You know,
Right.
if you're a liberal, go watch Fox. If you're conservative, go listen to Rachel Maddow for
Yeah, I
5
agree.
minutes. It'll just, even if you don't agree, even if you don't like it, she's not going to change your mind. But it just it changes you.
Not only does it change you, but it helps you understand other points of view
Right.
better and gives you the ability to put yourself in other people's shoes.
Yeah. And it's part of, I mean, travel does that, I think.
Yeah.
Meeting different kinds of people does that. But, we live in these silos today, both in our lives and in the media.
Right.
And I mean, I think it's really important to bust out of it. And to my own credit, I've done a lot of that busting out, and I like it. It's fun.
Okay, so now a lot of, in learning, I was in the learning world for a long time. Like 90% of learning was informal. So when user-generated content is where a lot of people get their news now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that? Dislike that?
It's fine, but we need to be smart consumers. You do have to be a little shrewd about where it's coming from and what the agendas of those people who are delivering it to you. Otherwise you let the Russians decide who your next president will be.
Yeah, that could be a
I
problem.
mean, we got to be smart.
Right.
I don't think there's any stopping it. I mean, you could do stuff to try and get the the deceptive stuff off of our social media platforms, but you're never going to do that entirely. It requires us to be shrewd consumers and just be a little, hey, who's telling me this stuff, and it also increases the power of brands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the New York Times is not perfect, but there's a process in place there that it's been through some smart people checking it out before it's delivered to you.
Right.
And the same is true of the Wall Street Journal and NBC and maybe true, but much harder to tell if you have no idea who
Right.
it is that's delivering it to you.
It's funny you say that. I had a controversy with a social media platform,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't like the way I was being treated on the platform, and I went above a couple levels, and the boss said to me, "Look, I don't know if everything you're saying is true." And I said, "Well, there's 3 sides to every story."
Mhm.
And I agreed with him on that.
Mhm.
He said, "But just the fact that you wrote me a letter says there's something going on, and I
Right.
have to take note."
Uh-huh.
And I think that's important to do.
Yeah, and get in the arena.
Do you think that a live video like this, especially, and we haven't had much engagement today, but where there's engagement, what do you think about that type of delivery of content?
Listen, it has the advantage of authenticity, and you do a slick version of it. I I mean, your production values are quite impressive.
Thank you.
Particularly, you're not doing it. You don't have. It isn't NBC. I mean, it's a
No.
individual and a small team of people pulling this together.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people can smell fake, and I think they can smell authentic. And partly the technology helps with that. But at the end, at the center of it, there's got to be a person.
Yeah.
I mean, the talent is the talent,
True.
and either people believe you and connect with you, or they don't.
But can they always smell fake? I mean, because look at what's going on in this day and age. Can they smell fake?
That's interesting.
And I don't want to get political,
Yeah.
but I want to have I want to discuss.
I think
this a
most
bit.
people can. Honestly, there are people who are ideological zealots, and it's true on both sides. But the vast majority of people have pretty good BS detector, I think. Don't you feel like just when you go about your life, people that you run into, friends, neighbors, colleagues, I mean, you know who's full of it and who's not.
I do. I feel like I do, but I also feel like people are now buying into information that it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And they're saying the same thing on one side that they're saying on the other side. So on the side that I believe,
Right.
I'm going, how can those people
Those crazy
believe that?
people, what are they,
And I
idiots?
do have friends on the other side,
Right.
because I'm very open to having
Right.
friends on the other side.
Better.
And they look at me and they go, how can you believe that?
The one thing that I would say, we are just getting used to the technology. And for instance, it used to be true that when you saw something on television, it had been through some kind of professional vetting process. That, again, not saying it was 100% perfect at all times, because it wasn't, but there was a certain presumptions you could make. And that's no longer true, because anybody can make it. And so maybe there's a certain getting used to that and bringing our own filters to it in a way that reflects the reality. And that's probably still a work in progress.
Do you believe it's going to get more skewed, or do you believe that it's going to seek its own level and find balance?
I think most of the problems eventually solve themselves. I mean, I'm an optimist, and I'm not sure that 100% of this can happen tomorrow.
Right.
But we progress. We learn stuff.
And I hate to get I'm not getting political here, but historical. When we were in the throes of McCarthyism,
Mhm.
we were in a tizzy.
Yep, people were scared.
People were scared.
Same way they were scared after 9/11.
Right. Do you think in 20 years from today we're going to look back at now going, what were we thinking?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
And
I think we're going to look at it because I think we're doing stuff that we're selling ourselves out too cheaply and too quickly.
Why?
I guess fear. I mean, anxiety. The world is changing. I mean, I hate to keep bringing it back to technology, but I really do think that makes a big difference. Like, we want to blame immigrants, but
Good
really,
or bad?
But really, well, it's good in that it has brought us all this wonderful stuff, but it's also caused great displacement and anxiety. And, if you're a 55-year-old auto worker, your opportunities have narrowed. And if you're someone if you're someone living on Long Island in a house that's gone up and the taxes are really high and you've got kids to send to college, and I mean, you are squeezed. You're not wrong in thinking that you're being squeezed. I mean, that's true.
Right.
And so we look for easy answers, I think, in those situations.
How has technology helped your career, and how has technology hindered or constrained or hurt your career?
Both, clearly both.
How?
Explain,
please.
I mean, in the most basic ways, the idea that when I started, we didn't write at a computer screen. I wrote on a typewriter when I began. No, it's an electric typewriter. I'm not that old, right? And we used scanner technology and stuff that was kind of early digitizing technology. And I was, when the screens came in and the PCs came in, and that is, as a writing tool, is wonderful. I mean, edit and move, and the fact that internet research is available to me in a Google search that it's unimaginable 20 years ago that I would have had access to the information at the speed and ease that I do today. So all of that stuff has been a plus. It makes me a better writer and a better storyteller. On the other hand, technology killed the newspapers that I loved. The fact that you can get that information on your phone.
Right.
And the media industry hasn't figured out how to monetize that in a way that they can pay for some great reporter to go to Iraq. Whereas in the days of ink on paper thrown on the doorstep every morning and billed by the month, Newsday was making 30% profit margins.
I think they got caught off guard, and then they didn't know what to
And they
do,
blew it.
and they went into a tizzy because they worked out of fear.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you an example. When the web came around, and I was involved in a lot of this stuff, we understood immediately that the readers were going to read this stuff in a digital format, that ink on paper was doomed. So the first thing we did was we gave it away. We put all our stories onto the net, and we said, here they are, read them.
For free.
For free.
Right.
And then we said, wait, this is crazy. We can't do this. They're all going to read in there for free, and then the circulation's going to go down. We're not going to have any money. So we put subscriptions on it, and nobody showed up.
Well, they got mad.
Nobody
You
showed up.
gave it to them for free. Now you're taking it away.
Turns out that's not a very good business model. Here it is for free. Now pay me.
Well,
They
they democratized it themselves.
Yeah, and other industries made others. I mean, the music industry allowed their product to be stolen, right? We in the newspaper business, we gave it away, and then we tried to charge. It's and I don't know what there is no good answer. I mean, it's very.
Well, technology has democratized so many industries.
And I would like people to understand the difference between a great reporter going to Iraq and working really hard and getting me that story versus some, idiot in a bathrobe in his mama's basement giving me his opinion about something. They're not equal.
Right.
And this one, for us to have, costs a lot of money. And this one there's an unlimited supply of. And it's not very valuable. And I hope some of our young listeners can help figure out how are we going to pay for that. Please give me that answer. We'll all get rich if we can
I
figure it out.
don't know if that, there are people who have millions of followers. It's just it's not even whether I agree or disagree with what they're saying. It's just complete nonsense.
Yeah, but they're doing
What
something.
they're
They got an
saying.
audience. Somebody wants
They
to
have
listen
an
to it.
audience. That's the question: is why do they have an audience?
People connect. They can tell. It's something they like about them. I mean, look at these, YouTube makeup tips. Little 16-year-old girls giving makeup tips. God bless them.
Well, what about esports?
Yeah.
Do you know a lot about esports?
Not a lot.
Okay, so
I've heard of it.
esports, there's a live platform
Right.
called Twitch,
Right.
and they play these games, and people spend. Some of these kids are making millions of dollars
Right.
on playing esports.
Yeah.
There's one guy, he got lured away from Twitch to another platform called Mixer,
Mm.
and he's being paid millions of dollars to go to Mixer.
Listen, I'm not a snob. I think it's great. I mean, we don't all have to be doing, reading great books all the time. Just screwing off is okay.
I have. I remember when I was a kid, and our parents would go, "Oh, these kids today, this is no good. What they're doing," and I find that we're doing the same thing. And is it really not healthy, or is it just evolution?
I mean, it's happening. I don't know. There's some unhealthy parts of it. I mean, kids ought to go out and run around the block. That would be good, right? I mean, we have all these, kids with health problems,
Right.
and that's no good.
Right.
But you're not going to stop it. We just need to be smarter. We need
Yeah.
to make the content better, and we need
Absolutely.
to, help people be smarter consumers. And I don't know.
You seem to have. I don't know whether the path has found you, or you keep finding a good path for yourself. Where do you see yourself going?
That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to it, but I've never known the answer to that. Here's my approach, which is to be open to new things as they come along. I figure I have two core skills, at least two marketable skills, talking and writing. And I assume by the time I die, I will have done those in pretty much any way you can do them. And I've done them in a bunch, but I've never written a TV show. I'd like to do that. I've never, I don't think you want me to sing an opera, so I don't think I'm going to do that.
I haven't heard you sing, so I
think
don't
I'm
know
gonna-
whether I want you
I don't
singing
think I'm
opera.
going to do that, but
You can try.
But generally speaking, and it's fun, and it served me well,
Right.
honestly. The fact that I said talk radio, it's fun. Let's go do that.
I believe there will always be a place for good content.
Here's hoping.
And there's always going to be a place for good content. but it's a matter of being able to adapt to the places where people want to see it and that it's relevant.
And I believe that at the core of any of that content, regardless of the platforms and the technological changes, there are some basic storytelling stuff that connects one person to another. And if I can tell you something you need to know that makes your life better, if I can make you laugh, if I can make you feel something about some larger social issue that actually moves you, I think I can get you. And I think you'll come find me whatever platform I'm on.
Right, gotcha. So
I hope.
I'm a kid who I want to go into journalism. The whole world is disrupted. You're not a 20-something, but what would you advise that kid who wants to get into some type of journalism or storytelling?
Yeah, first of all, do it. I mean, it's a wonderful career and a great opportunity. It's always been a tough business. I mean, it's not the most rational way to try to make a living, and it is in turmoil. But the same turmoil that is rattling my generation opens up opportunities for kids who are more
Right.
comfortable with the
Yeah.
technology and
Right.
inventing the technology. And listen, there isn't what there was when I started, which was a newspaper industry where you could start on a little paper in a small town and claw your way up. And that path is pretty much done. But there's a whole web world and there's social media stuff, and
Sure.
it's pretty much the same. I think tell good stories and people will find you.
So we haven't taken any questions from we have a large studio audience here today. And even though our mics aren't working, do we have any questions from the studio audience? No questions. We have a very shy audience.
I got a question.
Have you ever known,
He's got a question.
but have you ever known this gentleman to be speechless?
Bill has a question.
Yeah, but you don't have a mic, Bill, so,
Does this not work?
well, somehow we lost some technology here, so we have some mics, but not all of them.
All right, so
I think Frank J. Prezi is trying.
Through somebody else?
What we'll do is we'll repeat your question.
Okay.
You're a good host, by the way.
Thank you.
And that was a good example right there. That was a good.
How's that?
That's a good maneuver.
What's that?
I mean, repeating the question.
Yes.
I become frustrated, like the rest of us, particularly over the amount of Trump negativity on the press. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, but I'm finding a lot of negativity, almost too much. Like you watch an MSNBC and there's like a topic of, well, the big topic of the day, everyone's talking about the same thing. It's pretty much the same. There are so few journalists out there. Michael Smerconish is one example. I like him because I find that he tackles both sides. He looks at both sides honestly. I guess my question is, are the days of Walter Cronkite, Huntley and Brinkley, Tom Brokaw, are those days over?
Okay, so let me kind of distill it down and repeat it. It's a very good question, Bill. I'm just going to distill it down a little bit.
Well, thank you very much.
So I think what Bill is saying is that in the days of yesteryear, we had this like trust for, like, we looked at our news people as like they're really giving us the true, unbiased information. Do you believe that those days are gone? Do you think they're still here? And do we have a chance of building something like that back up again?
I mean, they're good and bad versions of both of them, I would say. Yes, the world is more divided. Yes, we have, there's increasingly little stuff that everybody agrees on. And that's partly because there's so many choices and so many places to go. But I still think they're really good versions of each of those things. I mean, there are really smart leftists who are honest and give you the facts as well as they know them, and they're great conservatives who are like that. And I think you can find good versions of that wherever you are. And I would add what we talked about earlier, which is wherever you end up, go make sure you listen to some of the other stuff too.
Oh,
It'll make you smarter.
Yeah, and we have a question, Lori. If you want to yell and scream, or
What?
you want to yell and scream because our mics are.
So, we have a question from Frank Bees, who's been watching the whole time, and he wants to know, what do you think is the future for independent journalists?
Can you repeat that question?
Sure. What is the future for independent journalists?
Right.
Frank wants to know.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure what Frank means by independent journalists. I mean, people who are like freelancers who don't work for a company, or people who just have who are not aligned with any political outlook. I think it's always hard. You know, listen. The easiest thing to do is to team up with some larger entity, whether that's a political outlook or a big company, because it protects you from the harsh winds. But we're a lot of ornery people in this business, and so I think there'll be a lot of independent people who will still survive.
Are they getting harder to find because there's so much content out there? You have to dig more to find.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But there's great stuff out there too. I mean, there is amazing work being done, and in a lot of odd places. And you just need to find it. I guess the bottom line is that we as consumers of the media need to take a bigger role in establishing our own diet. You can't just turn something on and hope.
But it also gets throttled. It gets throttled by a lot of powerful places.
Yeah.
I think that is a little bit of an issue, is that it gets throttled.
Yeah.
I mean, so even if you're an independent,
right?
A lot of you only see the unicorns who go viral. You don't see the millions and millions of people who have a lot of good stuff to say, but you can't find it because they get throttled by a lot of social media platforms.
Yeah, or there's just too much. I mean,
That's
the biggest thing really is that, how many podcasts are being done today? And some of you can't listen to all of them.
No.
And how do you, among that pile of a million of them, there's some that are brilliant that you would love.
Yeah.
But
how do you find it? You're not going to find all of it.
Some of it's luck. You listen to your friends. The best stuff you hope bubbles up.
Bill, you have another question?
Yeah, Ellis, I know you well enough to know that you spent a lot of years on the Fox network.
Yes.
Primarily as the, as I like to call you, the liberal troublemaker.
Okay.
Do you think there's a role for you back there now with what we're going through?
On
It was
Fox?
different then. It was different then.
Yeah, Fox has changed a little bit. But there are still some, probably fewer today, but still some voices. What interests me about Fox are the folks over there, not in my role, not in the pundit role so much, but in the anchor role, who are diverging a little from the religion.
Shepard Smith.
Shepard is the biggest example, and Shepard's a tremendous talent and a smart guy, and walks a really interesting line. Judge Napolitano, also. Brett Baer to some extent. I think watching that play out is just really interesting because clearly they're expressing an outlook that's different from that of many on the network and a lot of the viewers of the network. And how they were able to navigate that is, to me, it's one of the most interesting things going on in cable news right now.
Did you watch The Loudest Voice?
I didn't. I know about it, and I know
You were there during that time.
I was around for some of it and saw some of it. Yeah.
Lori, are there any more questions?
No, but I think that being a journalist in this day and age, it has to be so much harder than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago because there's so many different types of people.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different types of religions. There's things as a media you can't say anymore.
Yeah.
There's Me Too. There's the whole blackface thing. Like I would think that you actually have to think about what you have to say a lot more now than you did 30 years ago in a conversation because I can't say that. I can't offend them. I can't do this. I would think that it would have to be a lot harder now to be able to say how you feel because there are so many different diversities of different types of people that you can offend 5 different groups with one sentence.
Yeah.
So
we're right. The culture is much jumpier now.
Right.
People are quicker to both be offended and express offense, and they have many new mechanisms to let their voices be heard. Right? We're very accessible. I mean, I'm easy to find.
Right.
I'm not suggesting this, but I'm easy to stalk and easy to be crazy to. I mean, all that stuff.
But in saying that, you you say something maybe a little off,
Mhm.
and you have a movement behind
Yeah.
them, you know,
Yeah.
saying before it was maybe one or two people were mad. Now you had thousands of people
Yeah.
saying that you
I've
did
had that.
something wrong. And
I've
it's
had
very
that.
different.
I've had that.
You know, that, and it's like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
and then you start maybe to question yourself, should I have said that? You know, is that right? Do I still believe in what I said? Do you know what I mean? So it has to be so much harder now to express how you feel as a person, as a journalist, because there's all these different, the culture has changed.
Yeah, a lot of landmines. It's true. Can I be really honest? I frankly sort of enjoy that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I've walked those lines
Mhm.
for a long time, and part of doing this kind of work
Mhm.
is you got to know what's out there. But I also kind of like to poke the bear a little
Got it.
bit.
Okay.
You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of. I mean, how far can you push it? You know,
Yeah.
how can you? I. That's probably part of the immature, shallow part I was talking about.
I don't
but
think so.
I mean, I kind of like to. I like to mix it up
Engage.
a little
You
bit.
like engagement.
But
I
that's
like
not
to engage.
shallow. That's
I like to
kinda-
engage. Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being. I mean, to me, that's kind of competitive.
fun.
It's well, there's a competitive
It's
thing
fun.
also
You
about
want boring?
that. No,
I mean, we could do boring if you want.
no, we don't like boring.
I mean, I'd rather. Hey, you know
Bill
what?
and I never like boring.
You don't like it? You know, send me an email. I don't know.
The one thing we didn't grow up doing was boring.
Well, we're the same on that. No,
Yeah.
I don't have a good. I'm not good at that. I don't do that
But we
well.
couldn't watch TV during the week.
We weren't allowed to watch TV during the week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
did
that
you
was-
learn about the Partridge Family, and the
snuck
Brady
it.
Bunch?
Oh, we watched the first run
Okay.
on Friday nights. That was
Oh,
Friday night
that
ABC
was,
lineup.
Oh, okay. I should have picked a Tuesday night show.
Yeah, Tuesday night. No,
No,
as a matter
what
of
about
fact,
the Mod Squad?
so
You didn't get to see the Mod Squad.
until we did watch Squat Mod Squad because until we were in a certain grade, we were allowed to watch TV. So Bill hit the age, and no, it's okay. Bill hit the age.
And he ruined it for everybody.
No, and he was a big Monkees fan,
Okay.
and so he gave me his tape recorder, and it was a little reel-to-reel tape recorder, and I would put the microphone up to the TV, and I would record the Monkees for him,
What a good brother.
and
What a good brother.
then he could listen to the Monkees. He couldn't
That's-
watch it.
Yeah, that's most of it.
But that was legal. It was almost like a loophole. You figured out a loophole.
You're figuring
And that
angles
was legal.
very early.
My parents didn't say no to that.
Very early angles.
Right?
It's true.
Yeah.
Mm.
But anyway, Ellis, I have thoroughly
It
enjoyed
was
having
fun.
you here.
It was fun hanging out.
I
It's just
would-
like we were hanging out.
Yeah, this is what it's all about.
We're not. I
It's
mean, it
hanging
wasn't.
out.
It was just like hanging out.
Yeah. And I would love to have you back
Yeah,
again.
it's fun.
I'd love to have you doing a show, but I
I'll
know
try.
you're busy.
I'll try to think of something.
And also, when you have like something else you want to promote, definitely have your people call.
Have my people.
I don't have any
Do
people.
I have people? I don't.
Yeah, have them call me.
All right.
But seriously, I would love to have you back on again.
That's fun.
It would be awesome.
It's fun.
So,
that's great.
and next week,
What you got next week?
we
you know?
have a lot of people coming up, and I'm trying to think who's next week. I don't remember.
See, that's authentic right there. I like that.
Oh, we've had Shelby on the set during the show. The dog.
Yeah.
Just like during the middle of a conversation, she just walks there and she sits down right in front of me like this.
So, as long as she only sat.
She's a good
Yes.
dog. She's a good dog.
Sat.
She's
Excuse
actually
me. I need to
snoring,
be
right?
careful
Right,
about
right.
my diction.
Yeah, she's snoring right
She
now.
sat.
She sat. Isn't that's past tense?
Well, there's a word that sounds like that means something different.
Yes.
I mean, shat.
Oh, come on. This
Well,
is
that's
a
not a
family
curse.
show. You don't want to gross people out.
What? I didn't say shit. I said shat. Anyway, like the lip shits. Anyway, thank you for
great to be
being
with you.
here.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
And
and
good luck with this. It's very impressive operation.
thank you very much. Except I forgot to do the credits. So Frank J, you're just going to have to end it, and we're going to have to put it on the on demand. Some people paid for it.